I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You're listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. One thing that does make me happy is the Glebe Central Pub. You can head there for great food, awesome drinks, atmosphere to match, all at 779 Bank Street. When you get there, let them know that Locked On Senators sent you, and make sure to get on the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Score your tickets, get a goal, something the Ottawa Senators can't do, but have a great time on the GCP shuttle. $17 round trip to and from the CTC. Next game on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We want to see you on the GCP shuttle. Again, get your tickets online. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Lalime's Martian and Jack Richardson here discussing a 2-0 shutout loss to the Boston Bruins. And even worse than a shutout loss to the Boston Bruins, a shutout loss to Joonas Korpisalo, one of the worst goalies I've ever seen play in the National Hockey League. Martian, what'd you see in this game?
Didn't see a whole lot out there from the boys. It was a tough game for them. Obviously, the offense is bone dry right now. As I was tweeting earlier, they just can't get on the score sheet to save their lives. Unfortunately, tonight, Eric Furlatt got in the way of what would have been a goal if any other referee was probably handling this one. Tim Stützle, bangs home one that sneaks through Korpisalo's legs on the power play, or it was right before the power play, or maybe it was on the power play. But anyway, it doesn't matter because the Ottawa Senators aren't doing themselves any favor with the way they're managing the puck, not shooting the puck probably when they should, trying to be too cute. They're not playing a simple enough game, and they're not crashing the net hard enough, in my opinion, lately. It's pretty clear that they're not committing to getting goals into the back of the net here. It's tough.
I almost feel like the called back should have been goal, a la Pajot in the 2015 playoffs, Game 6 against Montreal, where the puck's loose, whistle goes, diving poke check to get it in. Love the hustle from Tim Stützle. That goal counts against Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago when it snuck through Nedeljkovic. Tonight, they don't get the call, but at that time in the game, and where Eric Furlatt was, Jack, to me, that was the biggest issue. He was standing right on an angle beside the net. There's no way he didn't see that puck.
Like, obviously, as a ref, you're supposed to blow it dead if you can't see it. That's fair. That's the rule. That's how they play it. But that goal in Pittsburgh, I love that it was Tim Stützle, and I love that you brought it up. I don't know who the ref was in that game, but he was all over the net looking for it because he knew it was loose. He's right behind the net being active. I don't know if it's on a power play or something, but to be on the hash marks to blow that dead, it sucks. It sucks. That was a goal. Should have counted. They got shafted on that one. That's no secret there. But the fact that we're hanging on to that, and it was so important because the Sens cannot score goals. They have been shut out 5 times in the last 11 games. So it makes that play from Stützle and that goal that should have counted that much more important when it doesn't count. They're just starving for offense. The problem for me is even after that goal, we'll touch on the power play. We'll get into it because that's the story to me. You're 0 for 4. Even after that play with Stützle, you have a 5-on-3 for 30 seconds and then another full power play, and they fail to convert, man. It's really troubling, and I think it's kind of been brewing here for the last 2 months. I've been talking about it. I've done quite a few postcasts where they've been shut out in the last 11 games, and it's been brewing. This isn't something that just is out of the blue in the last week. They just have struggled to score goals for the better part of the season.
And that's what makes me not go like, oh, if you had Josh Norris, you get a little extra pop. Like, this is a deep-rooted issue for this team, Martian. Like, what do you do if you're the coaching staff? Because this might be a hot take. I prefer losing 6-4 than 1 or 2 or 5-0. It's just they get nothing going. Whenever the other team scores, I always say, oh, whatever. The first goal, I know the Sens record sucks at it, but I'm always like, hey, if you lose 1-0, you don't deserve to win anyways. But now it's like you get scored on once. You're like, all right, well, there's the game. We're not going to score anything anyways. Like, where do you stand on the offense, and what would you do to try to get something going?
Yeah, I mean, it's right away, just point straight to the top dogs on this team. I mean, where's Drake Batherson been the last 17 games? He's got 1 goal in the last 17. Brady Tkachuk, 0 goals in the last 9 games. I mean, these guys are cold as ice right now. Timmy's not even able to do anything out there, and he's a superstar, boys. I don't know what it is. I think it has a lot to do with we've seen kind of stretches of this in the history of the Sens when they have a coach who's very defensive minded and is preaching the defensive side of the game. These guys are doing a decent job of stopping the other team from scoring too many goals. I agree with you also, Ross. I would much prefer to watch this team score 4 goals and lose than score 0 and lose 1-0. There's a lot more to talk about in the postcast, first of all, and there's also a lot more to cheer for and get excited about, especially for the fans who are in the building on the road or at home. But I mean, you look to those top guys, and I don't know what it is. You just got to maybe take the leash off them a little bit, maybe lengthen it a bit, and say, listen, guys, you guys aren't getting anything going right now. You know how to defend a little bit. Loosen up maybe just a touch and get yourself into a position to score these goals. Early in that game, the first one I look at, I mean, is Tim Stützle gets that great feed over on the right side of the ice, and he tries, instead of shooting it, which he had Korpisalo beat if he just fires that puck right there. And instead, he tries to get the easy one and give it to Giroux, and he just missed the pass. It was a brutal pass. There was nothing Giroux could have done. And for me, he just got to shoot that puck, and all the guys got to shoot the puck a little bit more. And the problem is when they are shooting the puck, it's low quality. It's all low quality. And Korpisalo, we know, loves to kick out rebounds. Why don't you just start sliding them down there towards those pads, look for that rebound, and then you might get a greasy one. That's what they need to do now. Because as it stands right now, they're clearly not capable of scoring pretty goals at the moment.
Just get something. And it's like they waste all their goals in single games. Like against Pittsburgh and Boston, they score 5 goals each last time, obviously, against Boston. But then, as Jack mentioned, 5 times shut out in the last 11 games. Almost half their games, they're being shut out. And they're still, with 20 seconds left in a 1-goal game, because the last goal was a empty netter by Pasternak off of, I mean, it was almost like a perfect ending, a bad pass from Thomas Chabot, which was not his first tonight. The one on a power play drop pass where Martian gets it, and it's a 2-on-1 in tight. Like, what are we doing here? Makes no sense, but they're still trying to pass it down low for the cross-ice play from Batherson across the seam. They have tried that move about 100 times in the last 11 games. Maybe do something else. Point shots, rebounds, anything. They're just going to go down low and try to get it across. It's embarrassing to watch, honestly. So hopefully they get it together, because right now what we're watching is not worth the price of admission, and we know what's next. The Toronto Maple Leafs in Ottawa. If you don't come out and put pedal down first period, that building's going to turn on them quick. Even if they were playing against Columbus, the building would turn on them quick. But with all the blue jerseys that are going to be in that building, it could be an extremely toxic atmosphere if the offense doesn't pick it up right now.
I just like, it's so hard to break down a game when they give you nothing offensively, right? And they didn't play poorly tonight, but the fact that they have had this kind of game so many times in such a short span, it makes it almost, you can't help but not overreact to what you're seeing. And I'm saying it's an overreaction, but the more we see it, the less of an overreaction it is. Like you guys mentioned, the way that they're playing defense is very clearly taking away from the way they play offense. And I don't know what has to happen. Maybe they just got to dig a bit deeper, because the best players in the league find a way to be solid defensively and also put up points. Like, this isn't the dead puck era here. Like, pucks go in every net. Like, scoring's never been higher, but not for the Ottawa Senators. They've taken a hit, an absolute hit. The top guys just don't look the same offensively. To me, like, let's talk about the power play, because it starts there. It's not just even strength, because when it's at even strength, you can talk about the depth. I didn't think they got anything from the bottom 6 tonight. They've been juggling that like crazy with a bunch of injuries. I thought David Perron was a bit of a bright spot, considering he's missed so many games. But Ross, like you mentioned, where you can't sit there and say Josh Norris isn't here, so that's why they're struggling offensively. And then you can't even say that David Perron, here comes some more offense. He doesn't have a point this year. So in the games that he's played. So it's this overall problem, but I want to talk about the power play, because to me, that's where the big boys need to figure it out. And again, they scored on the power play tonight. That was a goal by Tim Stützle. The whistle just went early. But take that aside, on the scoreboard, it didn't count. So they went 0 for 4 again tonight. That 5-on-3, I know it was pretty brief. I don't know why, and it's hard to explain without having it right in front of you, but they were so spread out on that 5-on-3. I don't understand it. They were trying to draw the forward up high, it looked like, to get the play open down low. It's so easy to defend. Just let the 3 guys play catch up top. Like they used, you have to get tighter. You have to make it a small area.
But they don't have a shooter. Like
they have no shooter. And it's just so bad, man. Like it kills the momentum, and
they have no right shots. Like they have no right shot shooting option. I guess they could try to put Pinto there, but they never have. They just have him in the bumper. They need a right shooting guy who can sit on the hash marks like Ovechkin, like Pasternak. It doesn't have to be as good as those guys, but right now, the guy who's standing there just passes the puck all the time. And everybody in the rink knows that he's not going to shoot, including the goalie. Everybody knows he's not going to shoot. And Adam makes a great point here, Adam Rogers. We all like defensive play, but coach needs to show some adaptation. Let the players know what they have to do. And that's something going back to something Jack pointed out about 10 games ago, where they play the same style, the same way, whether they're up, down, or tied. There was not much of a push until the 5-on-3 power play. And even after that, it was still pretty back and forth. There just isn't enough offense, like offensive mindedness in the way this team's playing. And it's costing them now. This is like, when's the last time they had 5 shutouts in a month, let alone 11 games?
I got it, Ross. I got it. According to Sportsnet stats, it was December 2017 that it happened. Oh. Guess what happened in December 2017? The teardown, the rebuild. That was probably the darkest time as Sens fans. That's when it happened. Crazy. And it's the 22nd, 23rd. Still a lot of January to go here.
I saw that 5 shutouts in 11 game stat, and I couldn't believe that was true. Like, it does not, I mean, it does feel like it, but it seems unbelievable. Like, to get shut out in just about half of the games you've had in this last little stretch, that's just horrible. You can't be, I mean, you know, getting shut out that often is hard to do. In this NHL these days, I mean, Carolina put up 5 goals in the first 10 minutes of their game tonight. They had a 10-minute stretch where they scored 5 goals. I mean, imagine being a fan of that team right now. That sounds like a lot of fun. For us right now, I mean, big picture, things are fine, but it's just like they can't continue on this trend because it's just horrible to watch as a fan. And also, they're just never going to win if they can't get more than 1 or 2 goals, or if they just continue to get shut out as they have. This pace is obviously not going to continue, and I'd much rather it happen now at this point in the season than later if they're still in the hunt in the season. They're still in fine position, but they really need to figure it out because they are struggling more than I've ever seen to put the puck in the back of the net.
And I mean, in 2 of their wins recently, they had 2 goals, right? 2-0 against the Islanders, 2-1 against the Devils. Like they're winning a couple of games like that, but it is not sustainable for them to be able to continue on like this with the offense completely embarrassing. The power play is 1 for its last 18 now, I believe, maybe 1 for 19. They said 1 for 17 during the game, but I don't know if that was before the 5-on-3 or not. Either way, embarrassing offensive output from this game. Senators lose 2-0 in Boston. The Sens outshoot the Bruins 29-26. The shots on goal are 29-26, of course. -1 for me there. 0 for 4, the Sens go on the power play. Boston goes 0 for 2. Senators snap back 56% of the faceoffs. They outblock the Bruins 24-20. The Bruins out hit Ottawa 27-20. And the expected goals at 5-on-5, 69.6% in favor of the Boston Bruins. Again, Eunice Korpisalo in goal for the Boston Bruins tonight. Shutout. Did he ever have a shutout with the Sens? I don't think he did. I don't think he had a single shutout.
I think he had 1.
He did in preseason for sure. I remember getting all hype about it.
Yeah.
Thinking they had things figured out. But yeah, he looked good though, I thought.
None.
Korpisalo. Like, he didn't look awful.
0 shutouts in 49 starts last year for Ottawa.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, you could tell he was pretty dialed into this one. I think he wanted this one probably more than most games, but it doesn't matter. You got to beat him somehow. You know he's very beatable. And
they did. That's the worst part.
They did, and it was a squeaker, and it looked very familiar. I've seen that look on in his eyes before when the puck is between his legs and he has no idea where it is. But I mean, the Sens had 29 shots on goal tonight, which is better than they have been lately as far as shooting goes. But again, I said they were low percentage shots, a lot of them, and they weren't taking high quality shooting options when they had them. They were trying to be a little too cutesy. I don't know what's going on with these guys. They're snake bitten, and obviously missing Jake Sanders doesn't help as far as moving the puck up the ice goes. But I mean, these guys, they need to find a way to start scoring, because otherwise it's going to be a very long stretch run here. It's going to look a lot like the current Islanders and the New Jersey Devils of the early 2000s, who actually won a lot of games, but they weren't very fun to watch, as we know.
We got our good friend Jamie standing by at TD Garden for a Boots on the Ground report. We've got our Sens Central standouts coming up. But first, allow me to tell you about the Glebe Central Pub, 779 Bank Street, right in the heart of the Glebe. Head there for great food, awesome drinks, and atmosphere to match. And on Saturday, the Sens shuttle is rolling. An hour and 15 minutes before the game, it'll bring you to the Canadian Tire Center for that game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It will also have shuttles later on this month, the game against Washington next Thursday, January 30th, and then on Saturday, February 1st against the Wild. That's the schedule before the break for Four Nations. You can also watch all the Four Nations action, NFL playoffs, and everything else going on at the Glebe Central Pub every Saturday. They've got live music. It's just a great vibe at the GCP. It's our pub in the heart of the Glebe. Vibes are free at the GCP. We always have a great time when we're in Ottawa heading to the Glebe Central Pub, and we're actually looking at our dates to come and visit the GCP, so stay tuned for that because we love the Glebe Central Pub. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. It is America's #1 sportsbook. You can head to the FanDuel Sportsbook and get in on all of the action. I'm talking about football playoffs this weekend. It is the championship series, and if you're not the biggest football guy, well, what better way to get in on the action than getting over to FanDuel? New customers who bet $5 will get $300 in bonus bets if you win that first bet. That's $300 to get the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and a variety of bets keeps everything in the game exciting. Plus, when you get paid instantly when you win. No waiting around. Whether you're betting on your favorite team, like I do, and lose, or just looking to add some extra excitement for the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. So visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoffs in the NFL unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back, Locked On Senators Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Lalime's Martian and Jack Richardson. Let's head to TD Garden where we chat with Jamie. What's up, man? I feel so bad that that's the outcome you had to see, but how was the game tonight, man?
Oh man, that was a snooze fest. It was absolutely one of the most boring games of the year. And the only saving grace, the Bruins fans were just as bored as I was. It was the whole section was talking about it. Was probably I've been to a number of Bruins games at this point. Love watching them beat the Leafs in the playoffs. Nobody was having a good time. And I mean, the refs, the only moment that there was any emotion for me was when the refs took that goal away at the end. We were right there in the loge section there, they call it here. Great view. You could clearly see the puck visible from like 25 rows back. I don't know.
You should have saved a seat for Eric Furlat next to you, man.
Oh man. Yeah. And it made me think of that game where, it was right in there. I forget who they beat 5-0 when Timmy went and pulled it out.
Yeah.
And
same goal.
Just wish we had those refs tonight,
Exactly. Oh, that's tough, man. So wait, the
Yeah.
Bruins fans were also pretty disappointed with the effort tonight?
Oh my God. It felt like a really low event game. I know there was a shutout. I tried yelling it out 5 times to have something go by, but really it didn't feel like much going on either way. And a little concerning after that Rangers game. And I think one of you mentioned, a few shutouts against us recently, and team just doesn't look the same on offense, especially on the power play,
Yeah, and everybody can follow Jamie, by the way, on Twitter, FastAF_10. Great account. We're big fans of him there. Didn't we run into you at the Tampa game a couple of years ago in Ottawa?
We did. Yeah, much better time at those games. Also went to the home opener this year and had a great time there. And I mean, I don't know. Really,
so
really
are you an
optimistic still, but
are you an Ottawa guy living in Boston then?
Yeah. I moved down here about 8 or 9 years ago. Got to go to a 2017 playoff game. It was actually 1-0 in our favor that night. But since then, it's been pretty dark days, and like I mentioned, go to watch the Bruins beat the Leafs here, which is probably the next best thing you can get. But yeah, probably the first meaningful game I've been to here since then. So.
Yeah, I'm curious, Jamie, just about the crowd there tonight as far as Senators fans go. I didn't see many road jerseys in the stands from the television. Let me know if I'm completely wrong on that, but I'm assuming you were one of the few in the building tonight. Was it hard pressed to find another Sens fan in there?
Yeah, I want to say there are around 7 or 8 others. We probably all said hi to each other at different points, and yeah, there was one guy and his son who's actually been following the team around on the road games recently. They said they went to the Islanders, Devils, this one, and one more. So yeah, always good to see other Sens fans here. And sadly, this is probably the biggest turnout we've had here in a while. But I'm optimistic. I'd love to see more meaningful games down here, and unlikely that both teams get in. I really hope it's the Sens, but
So Jamie, you have any plans to go on any more games? Are you saving it for playoffs, or what's the rest of your season look like? Yeah.
I've only been going to Bruins games when the Sens are out of it. The Sens are my team, and it's really only out of once they're out of it, I kind of stay interested in the playoffs and stuff. But at this point, the Sens got to get in this year. It's happening.
God, yeah, you still confident despite what you saw tonight?
I'm gonna say optimistic instead of confident.
Okay. That's fair.
We can't be confident at this point.
No, we can't. We've been hurt too many times. Final question for me, Jamie. Really appreciate the insight, man. Yeah. This has been awesome. Give me a Sens Central standout from tonight if you got one.
Oh, God. I was worried you were going to ask this. Yeah. It's really tough to pick. Honestly, I gave one of my hot takes at the start of the year was that Clevin was going to get sent down in 15 games. And I could not have been more wrong. He looks great out there, especially with I'm wearing my Sanderson jersey.
Yeah, that's a tough bounce. Same thing happened to me. I went to North Dakota to go see him, and one of the reporters, Brad Schlossman, texts and goes, "Hey, Sandy's out tonight." I was like, "Buddy, come on."
And you could tell the difference. I know he hasn't had the year that some of us had hoped, but man, it was a big difference. Clevin looked good, so I'm gonna give it to him. But it's slim pickings tonight. Did you guys already go through that on your end?
No, we haven't. So you're leading us off. Clevin's a good call, dude. He hit the post in the third period, shorthanded, It went off of Korpisalo's glove, shocker, and hit the post. So it was so close, man.
You could see Korpisalo checking out his glove after, it hasn't happened before that once.
So is there a hole in this thing? Oh, man. Well, hey, we appreciate it, Jamie. This was great, and we're always following you on Twitter. Reach out anytime, and I really appreciate this tonight. So go Sens, go.
Go Sens, go.
All right, there he goes. Jamie, live from TD Garden in Boston. What an absolute beauty. And as I say, after each and every time we do the boots on the ground, absolutely my favorite part of the postcast. We got our Sens Central standouts on the other side. 2-0. Sens lose to the Boston Bruins. This postcast is brought to you by Game Time. If you need tickets like Jamie tonight, use Game Time and make sure you get the best prices for the game. I'm talking about the Game Time Picks, which is a new feature that Game Time has. These are for comedy, music, theater, sports, you name it. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and only shows you incredible deals on all the great seats that you can use. The feature is really my favorite, but I also love how on Game Time, there's no surprise fees. You can get all in pricing. Isn't that the worst? You're like, oh, buddy, let's get these tickets for the game. I got this great price. And then all of a sudden you go to checkout, they add 1,000%. You're like, what is going on? Not at Game Time. They show you all the total cost up front with no surprise fees. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Ross, and I'm going to Tampa in 2 weeks. On the 4th and the 6th, they play the Lightning in Tampa. The Ottawa Senators do, and I'm going to be using the Game Time app to get those tickets for me and the boys. I think that's the way to go.
And you and Pilsy at the same game too. That's going to be dangerous.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I had no idea Pilsy was even going when I booked it, and yeah, it's going to be awesome to see him. So I hopefully we'll be able to bump into each other and have a quick pint.
Well, you'll find my old man there too. I'm sure he'll be getting a couple margaritas, just having a good time. So those Florida games, those are the last games before the break for Four Nations. Twice in Tampa, the 4th and 6th. And then against the Florida Panthers, like, I'm in danger.
I wonder why they don't do that more to get more road fans making road trips to go see their team in different cities. Like those back-to-back games in one city must be nice, first of all, for the players who are on the road to be able to stay in one spot for a little bit, as long as it's a decent place to be. But also just for fans, like I saw that on the schedule. I'm like, well, I mean, we could easily make a little trip out of this. A little road trip with the fellas. Get on a quick one-hop bird, and away you go. And you can catch 2 games, get a little golf in a place down south. Like, I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, that sounds like a great time. I think they should look at whoever makes the schedule. They should look at doing a little bit more of those home and homes.
Well, you mean
double
if
home?
It's in Florida.
Double one home and away.
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
No. I think you just call it twice in one city.
A little mini series. But you only want it if it's in Florida or like Vegas or the hot spot. You don't want to back-to-back on Long Island or something like that. You want it to be a good trip. I shouldn't make fun of Long Island like that because the Sens have turned into the Islanders.
Yeah, we are the Islanders.
I think a lot of people too would say Ottawa would probably be the worst place to play 2 games in a row as a road team. So I love the city. I love the city of Ottawa, obviously. So I'm not saying
me
that.
too.
I live here full time, so I'm not complaining. But it's for a road NHL team. If you're stuck in the Brook Street and you're in Canada, a week might be a bit much.
We've become what we hate, though. The New York Islanders. I hope they score a goal for you that night, Martian. Because if Tampa scores a bunch, the sound of the that they play after the Lightning score, it's going to be infuriating for you. Last time I went to a game there, I was rooting hard for Lightning because they were playing Montreal. It was Slavkovsky's rookie year, and that guy was staring at his skate laces the entire time he was holding the puck. So I definitely had a good time at that game. But I know that tonight's game was not fun. And credit for Jamie for jumping on the postcast and being a good sport about what was. Like I wonder if the ushers had to wake him up in his seat at the end and just say, hey, like, game's over, just in case. All that to say, the 2-0 loss tonight sucked. Tyler Cleven's off the board as a Sen Central standout. Yes, Adam, Ottawa is the best city, most underrated city in the world. I will always stand by that. And scoliosis, we will get to Travis Green audio. Let's get to Travis Green audio actually right now, and then we will get to our Sen Central standouts. Here it is, courtesy of the Ottawa Senators YouTube channel.
From your vantage point on your team's play here tonight.
Well, I thought the worst part of our game was probably the first 10 minutes of the game. I thought we played a pretty good game after that. It was tight all the way, had our looks, and we got to find a way to score.
I might be off my count here, but I thought 4 posts here tonight. Is this almost a simple case tonight? At least the hockey gods not giving you a break.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I think we had 72 shot attempts. Usually, you're going to get a few goals out of that, but it's obvious the puck's not going in for us right now. We just got to stick with it.
What did you see from the power play tonight, Coach?
They're okay. They had some good looks. Again, I think when your guys aren't scoring, it probably affects them on the power play as well, maybe even more there.
And certainly no loss of commitment defensively, though, when the offense is struggling.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys stepping up tonight. I thought Cleven was one of his better games. 2 young D played well as well.
Can you offer an update on Jake Sanderson?
Yeah, I thought he was going to play today, but he's day-to-day. Well, hopefully he can play the next game.
Nick Jensen as well goes down, but another guy who stepped up. Just what do you like from his game tonight, but also over the past little while?
Who's the other guy? Sorry.
Nick Jensen stepping up, but also Shabbat as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to those guys playing a lot of minutes. So, yeah.
I don't think you like that question a whole lot there. Sorry, this is crazy. They go right into a credit to the Ottawa Senators YouTube channel, though, for streaming those live. I got to get Yeah, people are saying I'm using AI, and that was DJ Smith. I didn't hate that press conference as much. I actually didn't. Jack, what do you think?
No, me neither. I think it was good. And he's not wrong. I saw before we got on even the quote about the 70 shot attempts kind of going around Twitter. And it just a reminder to everyone in the postcast, you always need to listen. You need to listen to what they say, because I think when it's written out, it's a lot different than, or sometimes just depending on your perception of the quote. I think he was very frustrated. That's a frustrated coach because, yeah, they shot the puck a lot. But they need more. They need more from the top guys, and he's not going to come out in the media and say it, because they did try better tonight than it looked like against the Rangers. But yeah, nothing to say about that one from Green.
Yeah, I actually thought Thomas Chabot had a bad game, but that's just me. Played a ton of hockey though, 29-41, but the giveaway, especially the one that ends up being the empty netter, like you thought you had a chance, brutal. Send Central Standouts presented by the Glebe Central Pub. We'll wrap up the show on that tonight. I'm going to lead off. You know what? I'm feeling very selfish. I'm mad. Senators got shut out again. Anton Forsberg, they wasted a great performance from him. Shots were 7-2 early in this game. He was sharp. He gave them a chance to win. .960 save percentage, 1 goal on 25 shots. He is my Send Central standout. Martian, who's yours?
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback off Jamie here. I feel like when the Sens get shut out, I look to one defender, and that's Tyler Clevin. He stepped up in a good way tonight. I thought playing 22-35 with missing Sanderson. I thought he did a good job in his position. 4 shots on goal, and one of those didn't even count. Actually, he almost had 5. That post we mentioned as well, and then 6 block shots as well from the big man. So I thought Tyler Clevin had a great game.
Jack, who you got?
I'll go David Perron. I thought that he didn't stand out as someone who hasn't played in a long time. Again, bars on the floor because it wasn't a great game. But maybe the fact that he didn't stand out and it didn't look like he hadn't played in 2 games is pretty indicative of the way the whole team played. So I'm still going David Perron. I think if he can find his legs, he can be a good contributor in the top 9.
And final thoughts on this postcast from me is Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson, Claude Giroux. You're all on the milk carton right now, missing in action. We need offense from those guys. Those 4 guys make what, like $30 million total? Let's get a goal here, there, maybe anywhere. Jack, you got final thoughts for us?
Finally, a homestand coming in here. It's been a long time without a homestand for the Sens. So maybe they can get a little bit of home cooking starting Saturday against the Leafs. Everything goes out the window when you play the Leafs. Doesn't matter what teams' records are, where they are in the standings. You got to beat them on Saturday night in Ottawa. So that should be a good one. Hopefully the weekend they can turn things around, another solid back-to-back performance.
All right. That's it from us here tonight. Appreciate everybody for vibing and venting like we did tonight. 200 plus people here after a very tough performance. This fan base is unmatched. And look, outside of a guaranteed win for either the Rangers or the Flyers, it goes for the Rangers. That was a moot point. Someone was going to win that game. Outside of that, Habs lose in regulation, and that's big in and of itself. And there's one other score that went our way. Columbus lost in regulation as well. Anaheim currently up on the Penguins 1-0, but that one is very early on. Beat the Leafs on Saturday. Let's get back on track. We'll have tomorrow's Locked On Senators for you around noon. Get Pilsy's thoughts on this game and tee up another back-to-back. 3rd weekend in a row with back-to-back games for the Ottawa Senators. Owen, appreciate the comment in the chat. Adam, go Sens go. Let's tee up some go Sens go. Let's get some scoring energy in the chat here. We'll bring it into Saturday night's game for us. Appreciate each and every one of you guys in the chat. Appreciate my boys, Jack Richardson and Lalime's Martian. I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Great food, awesome drinks, and atmosphere to match. And check out the Send Shuttle, $17 round trip to and from the CTC. And make sure you let them know when you buy your ticket on GlebeCentralPub.com that Locked On Senators sent you. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.